Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Rose and I have been teaching for over 14 years in New York City. I teach social studies, 7th grade and 6th grade, but I have also taught 11th grade US history, 12th grade participation in government and economics, 10th grade global history, 9th grade global history. I have truly taught almost every single secondary grade level, and I am here to talk to you about the fact that regardless of whatever grade we teach or whatever subject we teach, we always interact with the same 5 types of students. And I'm here to tell you what those 5 types of students are and how so many teachers make mistakes with how they interact with each of those students. So we're gonna talk, we're gonna have a conversation. Make sure that you also comment below if there are any student types that I miss in this video, but I am very interested also to hear how you interact with each student type that I am going to discuss. If you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, that you like this video, and if you have any hypes available, please hype this video up. I greatly appreciate it. Now let's get into the video. 5 types of students that every teacher will interact with at some point in time in their career. First student type is the silent observer. We have all had these students in our classroom. They're the ones that like to sit towards the middle or the back. You barely hear them ever say anything. They might not enjoy participating, but they're always handing in their work on time. For the most part, it is accurate, so you can tell that they're listening. But these are the students that are just watching everything that is happening in the room. How you interact with the kid who's misbehaving, how you interact with the ones who are doing a great job. They have thoughts about you and your classroom, but you rarely ever hear them vocalize it. Common teacher mistakes is to assume that these students are not paying attention, to assume that these students are disengaged just because they're not verbally participating. They'll even sometimes forget that they're in the classroom. How many times have you taken attendance and you just have that kid that is always on point, but then you may even realize, wait, were they even in class today? Were they not in class today? These are the types of students that can go under the radar, but their opinions, their minds, their ability to add to the conversation in the classroom is so important. So here's what I've learned works with students like this. Think, pair, share activities are probably the most successful for a student like this. They are the ones that are going to benefit from writing their thoughts down first. So having them think about what they want to say, write it down, and then have them just share with a partner. Sometimes these students might have a lot of anxiety about sharing with their entire group, but sharing with a partner and just sharing something you already wrote down can alleviate a lot of the pressure. Something else that I've noticed works really well with these students is having silent discussion opportunities. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but there is such a thing as a silent conversation. You can have students respond to a question on paper, and then as they rotate the paper in their groups, they're continuing to respond to each other. I believe that this strategy is called a debate carousel, if I'm not mistaken. But these are the students that you can really pull in and be really surprised at what they write down and remove the pressure of having to speak out loud. This way you still get them to participate, they're still expressing their ideas, and other students around them are still gaining from the insight that that child has shared. I have some exciting news. I have officially launched a Stan store, resources that I have curated just for teachers like you. Whether you are a new teacher or a teacher that is fully into the game, but you are tired of creating group roles and responsibilities, you are tired of creating rubrics, you are tired of fill in the blank, this bundle is exactly for you. I have put together 5 different documents that can help you with your group work, help you with different rubrics, and also not just you assessing students, but students assessing their own work. Also, I have a current events assignment that I have used for years This I have found is the most effective way to get students interested in current events, but also applying literacy skills, whether it's citing evidence, making connections, identifying bias. It really does incorporate every single skill that you would need while your students are assessing a current events article. And lastly, I am for the first time ever offering one-on-one coaching. Now, I do want to let you know that I am just doing a trial run on this. I am only opening up coaching for the month of April. I'm checking to see what it's like, how I'm able to manage my time and my schedule while also offering coaching. So if that is something that you're interested in, I am specifically offering coaching in classroom management. If your classroom is chaotic, you do not have to wait until next year to start over. There is always a way to rein it back in. And so I am here to help you. If you would like any coaching, you can click the link in my bio, and I will also put the information in the description of this video. Thank you again for those of you who end up supporting and purchasing any items or booking a coaching session with me. Student number 2, the class comedian, also known as the class clown. We know these kids a little bit too well. They're the ones that are always making jokes. They're the ones that interrupt the classroom. They're the ones that are looking to get their classmates to laugh. And if we're being honest, at least for myself, 8 out of 10 times, they are really funny when they're not making fun of somebody else. But these are the students that oftentimes can push the line between being funny and being disruptive, or being funny and being disrespectful. What I truly love about the class comedian is that they are socially aware of what is happening in the room. They are charismatic, they're filled with a lot of life and personality, and we have to use that to our advantage. And so what teachers often end up doing with a student like this is always trying to shut them down. No, stop it, not funny, stop talking, stop talking. But all that does is make them want to push boundaries even more, and you might even get into a one-on-one, a tit for tat with a student because now you've tried to embarrass the class clown in front of everyone. So here's what I have actually found works with students like this. I've learned that if they actually say something funny and it's not inappropriate, it doesn't make fun of somebody, I laugh. I laugh and I acknowledge it. That was actually really funny. Okay, but let's get back on task. That way you're validating the personality of the student, you're allowing them to feel like themselves in the classroom, but you also build a level of respect where they know, okay, I'm not going to continue to interrupt the class. She gave me what I wanted. He gave me what I wanted. Acknowledge what I said, but I also don't want to push boundaries. What's important for you as a teacher is to redirect after you have acknowledged what is funny. Something else that you can do with students like this is that they truly benefit from just having something to do. Pass out papers, pass out the highlighters, collect something. That way that energy can be put towards something else as opposed to always having to blurt out and try to say something funny. Lastly, I heard about this from a teacher friend of mine. If there's something that you're reading in class, something that is a bit comical, you can have that student read it out loud to the class to add to the story, to add to whatever it is the setting of your story is. And then that way they're being who they're supposed to be. They're gonna say it in a really funny way. They'll get the class excited, but you're still focused on content. Number 3, is this going to be graded student? If there is a student that can really grind my gears a little bit, it's the one that is always asking if it's going to be graded. Yes, everything is going to be graded, because what do you mean is it going to be graded? But I get it. Some students want to get work done. Others are just working for that grade, and I can't be mad at it. Every student is in school, one, because they have to be there. It is literally educational neglect if a parent doesn't send their child to school. So you know what? I'm not going to be mad at the kid that just wants to know if it's going to be graded because they don't even want to be in school, but they also don't want bad grades. Students like this are highly motivated by points and values. They want to do well in class. But what I've noticed too is that sometimes they can like rush through an assignment. It is not as detailed as they need it to be. Sometimes they even make silly mistakes just to get it done and over with. But here is what some teachers do when they interact with students like this, and I've been guilty of it too, and this is not the right approach. Oftentimes when we interact with a student like this, we interpret it as like a bad attitude about school. We interpret it as like, I don't want to be here. Oh, I don't like this class. But as I mentioned before, they have no choice. They have to be there. But underneath, what they're really asking us is, how important is this assignment? And so building a culture in your classroom where everything is important, everything that we do is worth understanding, every single lesson. And so I've noticed that as the years have gone on, I've interacted with less and less of these students, or at least maybe they haven't expressed it verbally. But I do think that with a student like this, the easiest way is to really emphasize how important an assignment is, how important it is to do well, so that when you do well, you can get the grades that you are looking for. Number 4, we have the overachiever. This is the student that is striving for perfection every single time. All they want is a 100 on every single assignment. They're asking how to improve, what to do better. They are the ones that are the first to start the assignment. They might even be the last to turn it in because they're just paying attention to every single detail. However, you can also see a different side of that student. That student might be overstressing about their grades. That student can become really anxious about their grades. That student can be very dissatisfied with a 90 or a 95. They could even be fearful that their parents won't be satisfied with a 90 or a 95. Though these students are excellent to have in class and they in many ways would be like a dream student, there are many mistakes that teachers make with students like this. One, oftentimes we can rely too much on that student to share out loud. Maybe you're having a dry class, no one is really participating, and you know that that one kid always has the answer, and so you call on them. But really, all this does is put more pressure on that student, and every other student in your classroom thinks, I don't have to say anything, I barely have to do the work because I know that she's not gonna pick on me. There has to be a little bit of pressure on everyone in the classroom as opposed to them knowing they're gonna pick on that kid, so why even try? Oftentimes you may even rely on them and they may dominate discussion. It's okay to say, okay, thank you for your ideas, now I'm gonna pass the mic to somebody else. Oftentimes, these high-achieving students can actually cause other students to become extremely intimidated. And someone that might have initially been confident to share out loud hears what that other student says, and then they're like, never mind, I'm not as smart as that kid, so now I don't want to share out loud. So you have to be careful with students like this. They are excellent to have in class, but you really do have to be aware of how much they are dominating the space in your classroom and truly not picking on them every time they want to share, so that it creates space for everyone in your room. And you, as the educator, have to make sure that you're validating every single person, regardless of how minimal or how grand their response to a question or a discussion may be. Number 5, the future leader. These students always have an opinion about something. They want to be heard, but oftentimes they could also challenge authority and enjoy debates, whether it's with their classmates or even with you as the educator. These are the students that can often feel intimidating to new teachers because they're the ones that have an answer for everything. They're the ones that have a response for everything. Sit down. Why do I need to sit down? Hey, take out your notebook. Is it necessary to take? It's just like, please just do it. These are the ones that have to find real purpose in your classroom. And again, in another space, in another time, they will be the leaders. These are truly the ones who are not followers in your classroom. They set the tone, people listen to them. They're the ones that when they're absent, the class is like a completely different classroom. You're able to get through your lesson. There are no interruptions. Maybe even the mood in the classroom feels different. But even these students have their place in your classroom. So here are some things that new teachers and myself have probably done that we shouldn't have. Taking a lot of these students' challenges personally. Oftentimes, this can just be how a student was raised, to express their idea, to make sure that they're being heard, to not be a doormat. These are the students that just are taught to always express their mind and their thoughts. And oftentimes they could actually be engaging in deep thought with you, but it could be seen as an intimidation tactic. So here's what I've noticed with students like this. Give them opportunities to lead. Just like the class comedian. Here, hand these out for me. Can you read this to the class? Can you organize the groups? What do you think would be a really good idea for next lesson? You can pull them in ways where they can help contribute to the classroom, but you have to give students like this a lot of structure. Oftentimes they will try to run the classroom. Can I go to the bathroom? And you're afraid to say no. Can I go charge my laptop? And you're afraid to say no. You have to be careful with our future leaders because our future leaders can be stubborn. But sharing clear expectations, explaining what your expectations are and why you have them, but also engaging in a conversation with a student like this about what are their expectations for themselves and for you when they come into your classroom. Now, I already can tell for some of you, you're like, way too much for me. It's a child, sit down. But I really do think that if you're interacting with a student like this on a high school or middle school level, there has to be some sort of reasoning with a student like this and really getting them to work with you as opposed to against you. So these are the 5 personality types that I believe that we interact with in our classrooms, regardless of the year and regardless of the grade or the subject. Don't forget to check out my Stan store. As I mentioned, it'll be in the description of this video. Hype this video, like this video, subscribe to my channel, share it with people, comment below. What are some students that I missed that you know we interact with all the time? Please share your thoughts. I would love to hear from you guys. And as always, take care and I will see you in the next video.